Hello, in this video we will discuss about the total metabolism. We will discuss catabolism and anabolism, that is the type of metabolism. So what is the metabolism? First of all, we will discuss about that, and then we will understand about the separately catabolism and anabolism with the detail. So first of all, we should understand about the metabolism. So what is the metabolism? So metabolism is changes, that is the Greek word which that is come from the Greek word is known as the changes. So the collectively catabolism and anabolism is known as the metabolism. So the breakdown and the composition of smaller molecule into the larger molecule is known as the anabolism. So that is the anabolic reaction, while the catabolism is the catalyzation in the presence of enzyme is breakdown of the large molecule into the smaller complex molecule into the smaller is known as the catabolism or catabolic reaction. So here we will discuss about the definition about the metabolism. So sum is the collectively sum of biochemical, bio mean life, chemical is the chemical which that is for example oxygen, carbon dioxide, something. So sum of biochemical reaction occurring in the cell is collectively called metabolism. So in the cell, those things are occurring in the cell as well as outside of the cell is known as the metabolism. So we will discuss also how how it will be produced the outside in the metabolism. So let's begin to understand. So the breakdown of the larger molecule when we will eat the food that is inside of the stomach or inside of the digestive system, that is the external epithelial, basically external part of our body, but inside of the stomach it is known as the extracellular, not intracellular metabolism, due to the production of enzyme, and that is the extracellular metabolism, which that is known as the just catabolism, not anabolic effect will be occur in the stomach or in the into the digestive system. So here is the person which that is contain a digestive system. So first we will should understand about the digestive system. So here is the oral cavity which that is partially digest the carbohydrate, while the stomach is used for the partially digesting of the protein, and duodenum is used for the partial digestion of fatty acid and complete digestion also. So the duodenum is a small intestine which that is go into the ileum and jejunum, while the large intestine is used for the water absorption and mineral and vitamin, and also microbiota are present in the large intestine, which that is play important role as an anabolic effect. So here is the carbohydrate, protein, fat and different product of food which that is we are using in this time. So when we will eat the food, will go into the esophagus to the stomach, and oral cavity is used for the digestion of carbohydrate partially, that is the primary digestion. So during the digestion it will be absorbed into the body and assimilation into the body, which that will be part of the body, that food, and defecation, which that is the waste material will be defecate or expel through feces, that is known as feces. So here is the catabolism. First of all we will discuss what is the catalyzing effect. So the protein which that is our digestive system convert into the amino acid. So here is the formula of amino acid, and sugar which that is partially digested to convert the complete digestion of carbohydrate starch into the sugar, and fatty acid which that is digestion of the fat. So that is the basically overview of the digestion to produce that molecules. So that is known as the catabolism, because larger molecule convert into the smaller molecule. Why? Because larger molecule convert into the smaller molecule. So here is the sugar which that is used for the catabolism into the cell is by the glycolysis and Krebs cycle to produce carbon dioxide and absorb oxygen to produce ATP. On the other hand, fatty acid is used for the beta oxidation in the presence of oxygen and carbon dioxide release and Krebs cycle to beta oxidation produce acetyl CoA, which that is go into the Krebs cycle and produce ATP. And after this NADH also produce, which that is go into the electron transport chain and produce more ATP. So 36 ATP is produced from the sugar, while the more than 36 ATP is produced from the fat. It means the fat is more energetic and produce more energy. So here is the Krebs cycle, which that is oxaloacetate will be converted into the citrate by 6 carbon atom from the 4 carbon atom by the fixation of acetyl CoA, which that is come from the beta oxidation. So or glycolysis, or you can say that is the glycolysis, which that is into the movement into the mitochondria. So please make sure to remember these are all metabolic pathway. So the electron transporter chain produce ATP. This is the metabolic pathway, but it is the catabolization, so that is known as the catabolic pathway. So on the other hand, Krebs cycle is also produced due to the amino acid convert into the acetyl CoA and oxygen using of the oxygen to produce carbon dioxide. So the aerobic respiration will be occur, and nitrogen and sulfur will be released or separate, and enzyme basically that is the catabolic reaction to produce Krebs cycle and produce energy, while the anabolic effect is production of enzyme, hair, muscle, nails, bones, blood's receptors are on the plasma membrane, and that is known as the anabolism. So on the other hand, the fat is also used for the anabolism. What is the meaning of that? It means the smaller fatty acid convert into the larger molecules known as the hormones, steroid, phospholipids, which that is the plasma membrane, and cholesterol, which that is used for the lipoprotein and adipose tissue. So adipose tissue is basically the storage of the body in the form of fat. So the fat is also produced from the sugar when adipocyte will be excess of the sugar. So here first of all we will discuss about the catabolic reaction, and we will explain in which larger molecule degraded into smaller molecules. So the glycogenolysis or proteolysis will be occur. How it's possible? Here we will discuss. Here is the muscle which contain a protein as well as glycogen. Glycogen is composed with a branch of starch-like structure is known as the glycogen, which that is basically is a branch which convert into the simple sugar, and this simple sugar as well as protein or amino acid which go into the glycolysis. Sugar basically go into the glycolysis to produce ATP, and also go into the pyruvate into the Krebs cycle to produce ATP, carbon dioxide, and use oxygen. So it is known as the aerobic respiration. But the lactic acid fermentation also produced in human body during excess of exercise known as the anaerobic respiration. So the muscle will be fatigued. That is also known as the catabolic effect. On the other hand, for using of these protein and glucose for anabolic effect, its protein during the fat state is go into the blood and blood circulatory system, which that is used for the normal of the sugar as well as storage again during fat state. So here is the adipose tissue, which that is convert into the fatty acid by lipolysis known as the catabolism, while the dietary fat is also converted into the fatty acid. It is known as catabolism, also known as the catabolic effect. So the free fatty acid, which that is beta oxidation to produce acetyl CoA, and that go into the Krebs cycle to produce more ATP. So I hope you make sense. So here we will discuss about the anabolism reaction. So first of all we will discuss about the plant which that is also use the anabolic reaction. So the simple molecules convert into larger molecule and ATP use. So here is the plant I am drawing, which that is in the presence of light and carbon dioxide absorb and using by the ATP during the Calvin cycle. Photosynthesis will be occur. Basically normally you can say photosynthesis occur and produce glucose formation. Glucose formation triose and glucose, starch, protein, fats, all these things also produced from the plant. That is why we are heterotrophs, but the plant are autotrophs because it produce food with its own cell by the using of light. But heterotrophs we are, which that is used for the production of lipogenesis, glycogenesis due to the harvesting of the energy from the autotrophs. So remember about that. And we are also use the protein source from the animal. So that is we are basically carnivorous heterotrophs. So I hope you make sense like a crow. So next here I am drawing the block which that is understanding the anabolism and catabolism. So please remember about that things. Anabolism and catabolism occur on the basis of requirement. Requirement means during fasting catabolism will be occur because we are not eating, so our body will be degrade. While during fed state, during eating time, anabolism will be possible throughout life. So basically anabolism will be possible. So throughout life metabolism is active and life without metabolism is impossible. So the enzyme can accelerate metabolism by the using of without increasing of the heat and temperature, so the chemical reaction can be possible and accelerate more. So here I am drawing the person which that is basically you can imagine that our body is made up of cell and we are eukaryotes because we have contained nucleus and we are multicellular. So the multicellularity are present in our system and throughout the animal, which that is vertebrate, etc., etc. But the bacteria is the prokaryote and unicellular. On the other hand, the euglena and amoeba that is also. So here is the human tissue which that is contains similar cell, but I am separating the cell. So the single cell is known as the cell while the collectively the cell composition is known as the tissue. So here is the one cell which that is I am drawing. So basically digestive system, our digestive system will digest the larger molecule into the smaller molecule is known as the catabolism, and after the catabolization the absorption into the blood that material that stuff glucose, protein, amino acid, something which that is. And first of all here we will take just glucose first. So the blood will uptake the glucose to increase the glucose level and circulatory system contain increase of the glucose. Then what will be happen? Our muscle and our muscle as well as our basically liver will use the insulin to uptake that glucose. So here is a GLUT4 transporter which that is used for the moving inside of the glucose, while here is the basically insulin used for the inward movement. So what that means, glucose will move into the cell for anabolism or something for assimilation. So insulin is the hormone which that is itself is used for the anabolic effect. On the other hand, the glucagon is used for the catabolic effect. So the catabolism is due to the glucagon because the glycogen convert into the glucose due to the glucagon, while the insulin is used for the glycogenesis. So here is in the presence of insulin, glucose move inside and glycolysis occur, or glycolysis occur and produces pyruvate. That pyruvate go into the mitochondria to produce ATP and aerobic respiration, and that is done. But on the other hand, the glucose will also convert into the glycogen. So here is the glucose sugar which that is converted into the glycogenesis process to produce glycogen, that is known as the anabolic effect. While on the other hand will go into the mitochondria, that is the catabolic effect. So let's begin to understand more and more. Here is the sugar and nitrogenous base of the amino acid which they combine together to give a nucleotides, and these nucleotides go into the DNA inside of the nucleus to synthesis of new DNA for the replication during cell division. So that is the anabolic reaction, not catabolic, because we are growing. Our cell will be grow, our cell will be divide. So here is a mitochondria, which that is amino acid is also converted into the acetyl CoA and go into the mitochondria. When go into the mitochondria, acetyl CoA used for the Krebs cycle, aerobic respiration. That is same story about that. But important one more thing is that anabolic reaction are present. Phosphorus and fatty acid combine together by a different process we will discuss in the next video. So to produce bilayer of phospholipid of the plasma membrane. So the plasma membrane is made up of hydrophilic and hydrophobic interaction of the water. So the hydrophilic is the outside is the phosphorus containing region, while the tail of the fatty acid which that is used and that is the hydrophobic. So the fat is the hydrophobic and phosphorus containing compound is the hydrophilic, because the negative charge the oxygen will be water will be attract. So that is the plasma membrane. I hope you make sense about the metabolism and catabolism. So thanks for watching. Please make sure to subscribe and like.